Hey, friends! Welcome to the Swing My Heart podcast. Come join me, your host, Nicole, for some hope-filled conversations about heartfelt entertainment that makes your heart swing. Hey, Hallmarkies! Welcome to the Swing My Heart podcast. I'm your host, Nicole, and today I'm joined by my friend Noah from the Heart Full of Hallmark podcast to talk about week 1 of Hallmark's Countdown to Christmas. Welcome back to the podcast, Noah.
It's good to be back. I'm ready to talk about all of these movies, which
Yeah.
is we've had a lot already. I'm looking forward to the next few.
Me too. So to start off, we have 'Twas the Date Before Christmas, starring Robert Buckley and Amy Groening. It was written by Ramona Barkert and directed by Bradley Walsh. To prevent her family from canceling the Chamberlain Family Christmas Olympics, Jessie lies and says she's inviting a date to the long-standing holiday tradition. She meets Brian on a dating app, and he agrees to spend the holidays with her and her family. What were your first impressions on 'Twas the Date Before Christmas?
I was going into this because it's Robert Buckley. He
Mm-hmm.
always hits. And this is our first lead with Amy. We've been
Mm-hmm.
championing her for a long time, and we finally got her in a leading role, and she delivered on all
Mm-hmm.
cylinders. I loved this. It's a very standard story,
Mm-hmm.
but for the first film, that's what you want. You
Yeah,
want an easy story. I thought it was funny. I really enjoyed it. It's very sweet, and I can't wait to rewatch this one multiple more times.
I can't wait either. And I think one of my other first impressions is inspired by a true story because in the
Mhm.
very beginning of the movie, in the credits, it says inspired by a true story. So I wonder what inspired the story.
We might find out at some point.
I would love to know.
I mean,
Yeah. I thought it was a great script. Loved the chemistry with Robert and Amy, and really the whole cast I thought was great. Great ensemble cast.
yeah, I really enjoyed the mom and dad in here. They
Yeah.
they just fell in love with him so quickly. I
Mhm.
mean, how can you not? He's such a charming
Yeah.
guy. But they did such a great job with this script, and it just delivered.
Yes.
It's especially with the families and them.
Mhm.
I just loved the family scenes because I
Yeah.
have a family that is exactly like that to a
That's
T.
awesome. I think my 2 other first impressions would be that I would love to spend a Christmas with the Chamberlains. The Family Olympics looked like a lot of fun, and then I actually would love a second one to see where Robert and Amy's story goes.
We could go maybe twas the wedding before Christmas.
Yes.
That might be a good topic,
Yeah.
but at their wedding, have the Christmas Olympics happen at their reception. That'd be a nice little throwback to the original film while still giving us what we want from this one.
Yes. So moving on to our highlights. So that's anything you liked in the movie or any favorite scenes. Would you like to share anything?
Uh, there's actually two. I really enjoyed our meet cute. That was a nice,
Yes.
very different, very different.
Mhm.
Where they hire each other sort of,
Mhm. Yeah.
and then of course the Olympics.
Yeah. All those scenes.
That's
Right.
that's gonna be a highlight for
Yeah.
all of this year. Some of the best scenes we've gotten all year is from them, and I just loved
Yeah.
those scenes so much. And the kiss at the very end was
Mhm.
very nice. I
That was
really
great.
enjoyed that.
Yeah.
But what are some of your highlights?
So one of my other favorite scenes with Brian and Jesse was when they're on the walk in the woods and she's talking about her late fiance. That was a beautiful moment.
Very sad too.
Yeah, very
You
sad, but very, very well done, I think.
yeah.
Emotional, but they did a great job with that scene.
Yes,
The shots that Bradley had in that scene were just fantastic.
fantastic. Loved it.
Yeah. And a comedic moment I loved with Brian and Jesse was when they were telling her mom how they met.
Yeah, that story. I mean, they got it straight eventually.
Yep. I love how Laura, I think that's the mom's name. That is the sweetest story ever.
And there and Robert's face is like, okay,
Yes.
that's that's how it happened.
Yes. Also, I gotta mention this one. When they get there, Brian and Jesse to her family's house,
Mhm.
and he's meeting the family, and the mom is saying, "Everyone's so excited to meet Jesse's new boyfriend." Yeah, and I'm equally excited to meet all my future in-laws.
Oh, if let's just say this, right? If you and I were dating and I did that, you would be like,
I think,
mm,
what are you doing?
what are you doing? You are just meeting them and you haven't even proposed yet, dude. Calm down, fake boyfriend.
Amy's facial expression in that scene was priceless. She nailed it.
Give me more of Amy. I mean, I've loved her in all of her films. Give me more
Yeah.
leads because she has the best. I mean, the best
Mhm.
acting I've seen with the
Yeah.
Hallmark films thus far is from Amy, and she gives the performance of the year so far.
Yes, I think so too. And this was really brief, but I have to mention it because of being a Disney Channel kid. When they're starting the bake off, and I think it's Brian and Evan,
Yeah.
the younger boy, and I forget what they're talking about, but Evan's like, "You gotta get your head in the game. Come on." I immediately thought of High School Musical.
You and I grew up with those. Oh my lord.
Like,
Oh,
come
you
on,
took me back. I love them. Got
get
to
your
get
head
your
in
head in the game.
like, cue the song. Get your head in the game.
Get your basketball there, Buck.
Yes. And some things that I liked about the movie, I loved the sister-in-law relationship with Jesse and Shelley. And the first time I watched this, I didn't pick up on it that they were sister-in-laws. I thought they were just best friends.
Yeah, and they play that so well that
Mhm.
it could go either way.
Yeah, it really
I
could.
I loved her as well. She had
Mhm.
some of the funniest lines,
She did.
but she also knew. She
Yeah,
also
she
knew,
did.
and I really enjoyed that
Mhm.
because in a lot of the films, it's just where everyone is clueless with
Yeah.
all the obvious signs, but a couple people knew that
Mhm.
they weren't actually together, but just to make it happen. I mean, come on.
Yeah, agreed. And also the friendship between Brian and Keegan,
Mhm.
and the relationship with Jessie and her family, the dynamic with Jesse's family and Brian, I thought was great. I think we talked about that a little bit a few minutes ago. One comedic line from Brian I'll mention when they're doing the Christmas Olympics, when
Mhm.
he's like, "Is every event mandatory?" And they all look at him like, "Are you really going to ask that?" I thought it was very unique how the movie took place over just one day, really.
Yep. And
It,
it did not feel like it.
yeah, did not go as planned.
No. But they did a nice job with it. That felt like a weekend, and I'm like, wait, it's still the same day.
Yep, it's still the same day. Yep. I think two other scenes I'll mention is the mother-daughter talk with Laura and Jesse about Sean and his letter. And her mom is encouraging her that it's okay to move on from Sean. He'll always be with her, but you should find love again. And then the Christmas light show. And then Brian showing up to save the day
Yep.
to help with Shelley's store.
And the overall just the acceptance from everybody that
Mhm. Yeah.
he's already in our group now. They loved him from
Mhm.
minute one,
Yeah.
and even though he lied, I mean, he's still
Mhm.
them. He's
Yeah.
still a part of them.
Yeah. Agreed. And then at the end, when they had shared their first kiss, and basically the whole family is just standing there watching. And
That was so awkward.
yep. And I loved her line at the end when she is talking about, them going on their first official date, and she's like, "No, you cannot join. You cannot be a part of our first date." Oh, like, "No, you are not coming to my first
Nope.
date with Brian." No way. But yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. Great dynamic with the whole cast. Moving on to our next segment, which is hopes. So that's anything that you maybe wished for in the movie or that maybe you had an issue with. I couldn't really find a whole lot that I had an issue with in this movie.
The only thing was the lying, but then
Yeah.
again, it's not the best way to start anything,
No.
but that has lessened
Mhm.
because thinking back now, what way were they actually going to do this without
Mhm.
lying?
Yeah.
Now we've seen a lot of lying in all the Hallmark movies, but the issue is with this one
Mhm.
on first watch. I
Mhm.
was thinking, oh, really again?
Mhm.
But with the chemistry and the overall just love and everybody in the family,
Mhm.
I can easily just di- um, disregard everything then.
Yeah.
But that's just about it for this
Yeah.
one.
I mean, the line was part of the storyline, so that's understandable. It didn't take away from the movie, but maybe it could have come out a little bit sooner than it did.
Yeah,
And I think one other thing, it's not a dislike of the movie, it's something I wanted more of, which was more talk about Sean, because we didn't
yeah.
hear a whole lot about her late fiance.
Sean was just we knew that
Mhm.
something was in that note,
Yeah.
and I wish we got that note just a little bit sooner,
Mhm.
and maybe more of the family's thoughts on
Mhm.
that note.
Yeah.
That's what I really wanted a little bit more of was of that note and the aftermath of
Mhm.
that note, not just with her, but with everybody.
Mhm. Yeah, agreed. Moving on to our ratings, what would you give this for cast out of 5?
I'm gonna go with five,
Yeah, same. Chemistry.
5,
Yeah, I said 5 too. Christmas feels.
4.5.
Okay, I gave it a 5. Mainly, a big reason was because of the Christmas Olympics, but yeah, 4.5 is good too. And setting.
5.
Yeah, I gave that a 5. Story.
Story originally with the lying, it's at a 4, and I'm gonna just leave it at a 4. But on rewatch value, that's easily gonna go up to a 5 on a lot of rewatches.
Yeah, I said 4 and overall.
Overall, 4.
Yeah, that's what I gave it to. Moving on to Holiday Crashers. It stars Lindsay Fonseca, Daniela Monet, Chris McNally, and Jag Ball. It was written by Tracy Andreen and Lee Friedlander. It was directed by Michael Robeson. Best friends who work at a card shop decide to shake up their humdrum world by creating new identities to crash the amazing Christmas parties from the shop's confidential invitations. Soon, their lives catch up to them as they're whisked away to a fancy corporate Christmas retreat in the snowy Vermont mountains. What was your first impression of Holiday Crashers?
I'm just gonna go right into this. I love this movie. It's mostly because I grew up with someone who you did as well.
Yeah.
I grew up with Miss Trina Vega, so I
Yes.
mean,
Yeah.
I'm glad to see Daniela. I mean, I
Mhm.
love her, and she gave that character's
Mhm.
vibes in this film as well.
Yeah.
but I loved this movie. I have a couple issues, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But first reactions, I really enjoyed this movie a lot.
Yeah. I think my first impression was Daniela was the highlight of the movie
Yep,
for me. She was like one of the best parts of this movie. I mean, the whole cast was great, but of course,
we are
I know her from Victorious, so
we're
be a little
we're
biased, but
we're a little bit biased. I mean,
yeah.
she's still close to us. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody was great. She was just one of the stars where I'm like Danielle
Hmm.
Monet's in a Hallmark movie.
Hmm.
Automatics two stars just for her because I know she's gonna steal it no matter who she's with.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I also thought that it was a fun concept for the
mhm,
movie, going to all these holiday parties and falling in love that way. Maybe without the lying, which we'll get into later, but
yeah,
I enjoyed the movie and I thought it was a different concept for Hallmark, and I'm glad that they went with it for this movie.
yep.
What were some of your favorite moments or things you liked about Holiday Crashers?
I really enjoyed the wedding at the end. Not
Yeah, that
getting
was.
into spoilers, but that wedding and the dance. I
Hmm.
mean, her dress. I mean, that dress, one of the best I've seen on the
Yeah.
Hallmark Channel in a good while.
Yeah.
That was phenomenal. I loved that.
Hmm.
And I really enjoyed our chemistry
Hmm.
between Daniela and her
Jag?
love interest. Yep.
Yeah.
Her and Jag, phenomenal chemistry. Loved that.
Yeah.
Uh, I really wanted more of them, but
Hmm.
this
Yeah.
movie was made by them,
Yeah.
and it's one of the funniest movies that they've made
Hmm.
in a long time.
Yeah.
There's moments here and there, particularly right in the middle and
Hmm.
right at the very start of their crashing,
Yeah.
where oh sure, one more drink, sure, one more party.
Yeah.
How did you get invited to this? Oh, da 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 da. But
Yeah.
oh, I loved this one, and that wedding is pretty much the highlight of the entire
Mhm.
movie for me. Is just their wedding.
Yeah, it was one of the best scenes. Even though the wedding was short, it was still one of the best scenes.
What are some of your highlights?
Yeah. Well, first I want to say, can we get just a movie with Daniela and Jag? Because I would love to see that. Just a movie with them. And then, of
Yep.
course, supporting characters, but them as the A story,
Yes.
the
Fully
main
agree.
love story. Yeah. I also loved the friendship between Tony and Bree. Lindsay and Daniela had great friendship chemistry.
Hmm.
The relationship with Tony and her parents, I thought was nice. Even though, they had their moments like families do. I thought it was really sweet. And we already mentioned it at the wedding. I loved how they showed a different culture with that wedding, which was
Yep.
nice.
A Indian wedding.
I think we got that, was it last year or a year before with Make
Make
Me a
me
Match
imagine.
with
Yeah.
Eva Bourne? Yeah,
Yep.
that was one of the best movies of, I think it was last year, 2023. It was
Yeah.
great.
I I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
That either 23 or 22. I can't quite remember, but that wedding was a lot of fun as well. Give me more
Yeah.
of the Indian style wedding
Yeah,
because
it was
those look
really
like a
fun.
ball.
Yes, it was really fun. One thing that made me laugh, or one moment that made me laugh, was at the beginning after Justin has run into Tony the first time at that first party, and he sees the picture of her on his computer, and
Hmm.
Sebastian walks in and he's like, stalker. He like immediately closes his computer, but he's referring to the restaurant or the cafe.
Yep.
Stalker's Cafe. Fondue at the Swiss chalet themed dinner. That was right at the beginning. That was really fun. Do you do any themed dinners with your family?
We really don't the past couple of years. It's just been my parents and I, just because my family lives about an hour and a half away,
Okay.
and they often have to work about, so they drive an hour and a half over here, and my cousin's fiance's family lives here as well. So he has to go to three houses and have three separate parties
Okay.
and then come here. So we have to just rush and rush and rush.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
the last time we did a themed dinner, it was probably a few years ago, and I
Okay.
don't remember quite what it was.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah. I don't think I've ever done them with my family, but they look like they're a lot of fun.
Start a new tradition this year.
Start a new tradition. Yeah. That would be fun. I loved Justin and Tony's meet cute at party number 2. And, he walks up to her and he offers her champagne. And she's like, how do I know I can trust that?
Yep.
And then the line, I think she says not too long after that, it's a good thing you're not sponsored by a fertilizer company. Like, I think he's telling her what he does. And then Bree walks up and they're talking about caviar. And she's like, I don't like caviar. Nobody likes caviar. The montage of the different holiday parties was really fun. I think that was towards the beginning of the movie. We got some Hanukkah parties in there, which I thought was fun. I think we got some New Year's parties maybe,
Yeah.
and of course
We got
Christmas
a New Year's
too.
party. Yeah.
Yeah, and I loved the wardrobe in those scenes or in that montage was great. Like the Christmas sweaters and then the I think sequin dresses that Bree and Tony had in one of
Hmm.
the clips. Yeah, all great. I loved the wardrobe in this movie. It was fantastic.
Especially that red dress at the very end. That was
Mhm.
beautiful,
Yes, it was.
and she made that so much better.
Yeah. I loved the scene with Justin and Tony when she's talking about how she loves Christmas winters in the woods
Mhm.
and how and then Justin is saying how the holidays are a great time for a reset, which is true. And then
Yes,
I
it
think
is.
he mentions It's a Wonderful Life,
Yeah.
the Christmas movie, which is great. A comical scene with Vinny and Bree was when they were talking about the puppet show, or he brings up the puppet show for A Christmas Carol, and she's
Hmm.
like, "I don't know whether to report you or marry you." Total foreshadowing too, not gonna lie,
Exactly.
because she does end up marrying him.
Yeah.
And then they have the talk by the fire, and they share more about themselves, and he says, "Do what you love and the money will follow." And then they share their first kiss. I think that was one of my top favorite scenes with them besides the wedding.
Yeah.
And then Justin and Tony's second talk by the fire when they have their first kiss and they're sharing their feelings. And, he says, I'm equally glad to spend time with just you. And then we get the time jump and the wedding. So, yeah, those are some of my favorite moments. And I also love when Benny and Bree share their first kiss.
Yeah. That was very sweet.
Yes, that was a great moment. Moving on to our hopes. Would you like to share anything
Yeah.
for that?
Uh, I didn't care about our A story.
Yeah, I felt the same. Now, don't get me wrong, I thought that they had great chemistry, but it wasn't as strong as Daniela and Jax.
It was good, and Chris was kind of thrown to the wayside within the second to third act. I mean, I kind of forgot about his character being a business guy. I'm like, oh,
Mhm,
that's right. He runs a company. He has this case
mhm,
going on. I completely forgot about that because I was so into our side love
yeah,
story. But that was my only thing. I wanted more of them,
mhm,
but I loved it as a whole just because of how much fun it was. But I wanted more of our A love story than we
yeah,
got. Maybe if we get a sequel,
mhm,
maybe we get a wedding with them in
yeah,
maybe the end of that one, and they're the main focus of it.
mhm.
But that's what I was hoping for from that one.
Yeah, I wanted more of them and their chemistry to be just a little bit stronger, but it wasn't terrible.
No.
I mean, it was good. Just wanted a little bit more.
Just a
And
little bit.
yeah, I think the only other thing I'll say was the lying went a little too long and maybe a little too far.
From both people.
Yeah, like the whole line about being a lawyer, not a fan of that.
Not only is it illegal, but uh,
Exactly.
you could you could go to jail for a really long time for
Mhm.
something as little as
Yeah.
faking being a lawyer. I mean, she knew what she was doing,
Mhm.
but
Yeah,
that's not the point because if they get caught hiring a fake lawyer, not only is she in trouble, but the
the
company's in
company's
trouble.
in trouble.
But I was not a fan of that either. Uh,
Mm-mm.
but those were the only two things.
Yeah, and I was actually on Justin's side for that argument that they had about that
Yeah,
particular thing because it could have gotten his company in a lot of trouble too.
yep. They could have went belly under really, really quickly because nobody would want to trust them or
Yeah.
do anything with them if you have a fake
Mhm.
lawyer.
Mhm. Very true. Yeah. Moving on to our ratings. What would you give the cast out of 5?
Five. Love them.
Yeah, same. Chemistry.
Chemistry, 3.5.
That's what I said. For Daniela and Jag, I would give it 4.5. But for Lindsay and Chris, probably 3.5.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah. Christmas feels.
Christmas feels 5.
Yeah, I said 5 for that. Setting,
Setting, 5.
5. Yep. Story, I gave it 3.5.
4.
Okay, yeah. And overall,
Overall, 4.
yeah, I said 3.5. But that's basically for the line going on too long. That's why
Yeah,
it got bumped
if they
down.
cut that, if they cut that out and not do the fake lawyer thing,
Mhm.
that
It
would
would
have
have been
been. Then we could have gotten to maybe a 5.
yes. Yeah, it would
But I
have been
mean,
4,
uh,
4.5 if not for that.
yeah,
Moving on to Scouting for Christmas. It stars Carlo Marks and Tamara Mowry Housley. It was written by Ali Spuck and Cassie Tabanu. I apologize if I mispronounced their names. It was directed by Jason Bork. Realtor Angela has been happily raising a 10-year-old daughter ever since her amicable divorce. Although she doesn't have time for dating, her daughter asks the owner of her favorite bakery to help her mom cater her scout troop's holiday event, and sparks fly. What were your first impressions on scouting for Christmas?
I was very excited for it because I got to
Mhm.
talk to Jason
Bork.
Bork,
Yeah.
and we talked about his 3 films. This one was my most anticipated because I love our lead,
Me
but
too.
I thought it was fine.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was fine. I have some nice things to say about it, but I also have quite a few in the negative. I'll say it was decent at best,
Mm-hmm.
but it definitely felt like the weakest of the first week,
Yeah.
and I wanted more out of it. But we'll get into that in just a little bit. What were your first impressions of it?
I actually had the same first impressions as you. Now, at first, like when I first watched it, I did say it was one of my favorites so far, but then after I went back and rewatched it, I kind of scaled that back a little bit because I was live tweeting for that movie and it's hard to pay attention like 100% when you're live tweeting. So when I went back and watched it, I kind of pulled back a little bit. But I mean, I
Mhm.
still enjoyed it. I mean,
Yeah,
Carlo and Tamara are very likable. They're both great actors. So, yeah, I just wish some things were differently. And we'll talk about that in just a little bit with the
yeah.
movie. Moving on to what we did like about the movie. Would you like to go first and share some of yours?
Sure. I liked our intro to meeting her. That
Mhm.
that was very funny.
Yeah.
I liked the daughter in here.
Yeah, she was great.
The story they told with the store manager,
Mhm.
I believe is who he was. That
Mhm.
that was very very sweet, and I liked the scouting
Mhm.
for houses,
Yeah.
but we didn't get enough of that. More of it was more about the troop, and I didn't really
Mhm.
like the troop storyline.
Yeah,
Uh,
I can see that, yeah.
but then again, I wasn't in a troop, so if you were,
Yeah, I
th
wasn't either.
this is gonna be completely
Yeah.
you get all those beats. You've
Yeah.
met each person in this group,
Mhm.
but since I wasn't in a troop, I didn't quite connect with it as much as they wanted me
Yeah.
to. But I enjoyed it, but I got
Mhm.
more negatives than positives to say about it.
Yeah,
What are some of your highlights?
I get it. So some of my highlights, I loved the mother-daughter relationship with Angela and Brooklyn. JC Doughton as Den Mother Elizabeth. She was the highlight of this movie, and of course, JC is in Curious Caterer, so she did a fantastic job in this role.
Mhm. She delivered.
Yes. The relationship between Angela and Sarah is played by Marcy T. House, who has been in a lot of Hallmark movies. She is fantastic, and I loved that she was in this movie too. And question about that, what was her relationship with Angela? Like, was she family or just a friend? They never really explained
I,
it, I don't think.
they never explained that, I don't think. I think she was just a friend. I don't
Okay.
think she was family, because of how she was treated.
Okay,
I don't
yeah.
think you would treat a family member like she did.
No.
Maybe it's like a best friend.
A really close friend, yeah.
Yeah,
I know
but
Brooklyn called her Auntie Sarah, so that's why I asked.
yeah, yeah. I completely forgot about that. Actually, wow.
Yeah.
Uh,
I don't know.
I I might say what. Well, I mean, we have really close friends,
Yeah, I mean,
and
you can call close friends aunties. Say you have a friend and then you have a son or daughter.
yeah,
They could call you auntie even if you're not family. So, yeah.
like with me, my best friend has a nephew,
Mhm.
and I've known him since he was just a baby,
Mhm.
and he calls me a uncle, so it's
Yeah.
sort of like that in a way.
Yeah. That's what I would say, just a really close friend of hers in Brooklyn. I loved the snark between Angela and Elizabeth in some of the scenes. Hilarious. Like one in particular, when they get there and they're supposedly on time, Angela and Brooklyn, and Elizabeth is like, for a Sunny Scout, early is on time and on time is late. What a
Yep,
clever little saying. William in Brooklyn at the bakery, that was a cute scene, that was right at the beginning, and I thought it was sweet when he said, "1 for my number 1 customer and 1 for my number 1 customer's mom," and he's referring to the bear claws, I think,
yeah.
or the coupons or something, yeah, it was a really cute moment. I was thinking, "He's already smitten with Angela."
He started from the very beginning. I mean,
Mhm.
not even 2 seconds in.
Nope. A sweet mother-daughter scene was right at the beginning when they're talking about the ball and Angela bringing a date, and I thought it was really sweet when, Brooklyn was saying, "Well, don't you want to find love again?" And Angela said, "I have everything I need right in front of me." I thought she was a great mom for
Yeah,
Brooke.
she gave her everything,
Mhm.
and she knows that she doesn't really need anybody else,
Yeah.
but her daughter knows it's still inside of her that she wants somebody else.
Mhm.
but I loved their scenes. They were very, very sweet together.
Mhm.
Fantastic chemistry, and I just loved it.
Yes, me too. And then the one when she was tucking Brooklyn into bed, and they were talking about William and then Angela getting married again. That was
Mhm.
really sweet. The Christmas Village Fair, and I thought the scene with William and Angela on the bench was nice. And, she's talking about how she got into real estate and why she does what she does. And before that, I have to mention this because it cracked me up when they walk up to the table with the snow globes, and Brooklyn's like, "Why do all these snowmen look like they're doing the hokey pokey?" Because that's
Yeah,
what it's all about. That Carlo delivered that line.
perfection.
Perfection. Yeah, that was perfect the way he delivered that. One more comical moment I'll say or mention is when I think it's the following day after William and Angela give their presentation to Elizabeth on, why he should be the one to cater the ball. And she's standing at her kitchen counter waiting for the phone call from Elizabeth. And then Sarah calls and she continues to stay on the phone as she's walking into the house.
Yep.
And, Angela's like, "Why are you calling me?" And then when she gets into the house, they keep the conversation going. And then just all of a sudden, Angela is like, "This is dumb. Hang up." 'Cause they're like literally standing right in front of each other on the phone with each
Hmm.
like, "This is
And
dumb."
looking at each other.
Yep. But also love the conversation after that with the 2 of them when they're talking about Angela making up her mind about William, and Sarah says, "Needing someone is not a weakness if it's a real partner, someone who inspires you, someone who pushes you." And that's very true.
Yes.
And then, of course, love the Sunny Scouts ball. That was really fun. And how Elizabeth apologizes and makes things right with Angela, and then the first dance and kiss with William and Angela. And yeah, I think that's about everything. Do you have any other moments you enjoyed that you wanted to share?
I enjoyed the ball. I enjoyed the scenes between the mom and daughter.
Mhm.
Uh, the kiss was very sweet.
Yeah.
Um, I enjoyed the opening of it. That was
Mhm.
very funny.
Yeah.
The scenes uh in the store was nice,
Mhm. Yeah.
but that's about it for
Yeah.
me for that one.
Yes. Moving on to our hopes. Would you like to go first and share yours?
I'll I'm gonna let you go first on this one, Nicole.
Okay. So I wanted more scenes with Angela as a realtor and, just seeing how busy she is. And I actually wanted to see a scene of her giving a tour of a home
Yeah.
that was for sale. The scene with William and Dakota, I thought maybe was a little too unrealistic because I don't think they would be friends that quick.
Yeah, they were very that felt very rushed,
Mhm.
and they didn't quite
Rushed.
know what to do with
Mhm.
those two people in particular. I
Yeah.
mean, they tried. The issue is they didn't know each other and they know very little about each other.
Mhm.
But I I agree with you there. Yeah.
Mhm.
Wanted more of that. They were nice characters to have in
Yes.
there, but the writing for them was just a little bit weak.
Mhm. Yeah, I was gonna say the story overall was a little bit weak, and the conflict and misunderstanding was, like, barely nothing.
Yes.
It wasn't really a whole lot, and I mean, I'm not saying I want a big, blowout fight in these movies, but a
No.
little bit more than what we got.
There was nothing here. I mean, I'm like,
Uh,
that's it.
no.
That's that. And they got mad at each other and had a misunderstanding over something so minuscule. I mean,
Minuscule, yeah, minuscule, yeah.
I'm so we we've had fights with other people over something
Mhm.
small, but nothing over that small. I mean, you might as well say they took my ice cream cone, and that's a conflict in it. That's
Yep.
basically about it.
Yeah. Yes. Nothing against the actors.
No.
Love the actors, love the cast. I just wish the story itself, like the writing, was a little bit better. Moving into our ratings, what would you give the cast out of 5?
Cast, I'm gonna give that one a 4. I
Okay.
enjoyed them.
I said 5. Chemistry.
Chemistry, romantic chemistry, 2. I didn't feel the romantic chemistry.
Yeah.
Mother-daughter chemistry, 5.
Yeah, I would give the mother-daughter chemistry 5, and the romantic chemistry, it wasn't terrible, like in the previous movie with Chris and Lindsay, but
Mhm.
it wasn't as strong either. I'd say 3.5. Setting,
Setting, 4.
I gave setting a 4. Christmas feels.
Christmas feels, I'm gonna give that one a 3. I didn't feel Christmassy. This felt
Yeah.
like it could take place at any
I
season,
was gonna say that. I said 3.5. Yeah.
and I don't know any troops that happen during the Christmas season. But
Yeah.
then again, I wasn't in them,
Yeah.
but I know people in them, and I don't hear anything about it. But this would have been better as a summer movie, I think,
Yeah.
or
Agreed.
maybe a fall movie.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Story.
story, 3.
That's what I gave it, and then overall.
Overall, I gave this one a 2.5.
Okay, yeah, I said 3, and I hate giving these movies any lower than a 3.5 or 4, but the story just wasn't strong enough for that.
Th- this one really hurt because I know
Mhm.
Jason and we're friends. So
Yeah.
to give somebody that I know and talk to on a regular basis a low
Yeah.
score. Now then again, all the people who make the movies know that we review them. We're doing our jobs.
Mhm.
We are reviewing these, and we're not gonna love everything.
Mhm.
But no disrespect to anybody in the
No.
films.
No.
We still love you. This just movie this film wasn't for us,
Mhm.
but hopefully the next one is,
Yeah.
and we have your other films that we love a lot more.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna echo your thoughts. Like, we love everyone, and we appreciate all the work that is put into these movies from everyone, the actors, the directors, the producers, the writers. I mean, everyone, but we're not going to like everything, and that's unfortunate, but they still do a great job with the work that they do, if that makes sense.
And if you loved this particular film, God bless you. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's great when someone can love something that I didn't,
Yeah.
and vice versa. But to each their own.
Everyone works so hard on these movies, and we always appreciate the hard work,
We do.
even if we're not huge fans of the movie itself. We still love everyone involved.
Yes.
Well, I think that wraps up our Hallmark 2024 Countdown to Christmas Week 1 review. If you enjoyed this episode and are watching on YouTube, you can like this video and share your thoughts on these 3 movies in the comments. If you are listening on Spotify, make sure to rate and review, as your feedback is always greatly appreciated. If you want to stay up to date on all of my episodes, you can subscribe to this channel on YouTube or follow along on Spotify, and make sure to turn on the bell so you are alerted when new episodes come. You can also find the podcast on Facebook and Instagram at Swing My Heart Podcast and Twitter at Swing My Heart Pod. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are in the world, and we will see you next time for Countdown to Christmas Week 2. We love y'all. Bye.
Bye.